What is up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Chronically Motivated Project. Today is Monday, and that means today is Monday's motto. Today's motto, be frugal with your fucks. As you can tell by the title, today is probably going to have a lot of curse words in today's podcast. So today is a little bit more R-rated, a little less safe for work. Just a warning. Should have figured that out by the title and, who I am as a fucking person. I will be giving an award for everyone who can count the amount of times I say fuck in this podcast, because today we're talking about fucks and how you shouldn't give them. What I mean by that is people care too much about everything. Everything that isn't extremely important in their life. People care about fucking everything. And today we're talking about how to not give a fuck. Not giving a fuck is cool to say, but it's more than that. It's necessary to live a happy life. You can't be happy if you're worried about what people think, if they approve of what you're doing, if they're judging you, and if things are just going to go wrong. You can't. And we're so caught up, we're giving out these fucks, like we're on the Oprah show and how she gives away cars and prizes. We're just giving out our fucks like we have this endless bank account full of fucks that we can just give to everyone. And we're just the giver, the Mother Teresa of fucks, and just giving out every ounce of energy we have and every ounce of attention to things that don't matter, things that detract us and things that don't fucking matter in your life. I'll say it again because so many things don't matter, yet so many things have our attention. So many things have us worried, and so many things are detracting us and pulling us away from where we want to be. Before I go on though, let's talk about the noble truths in life, okay? Not everyone will like you. That's 100% a fact. Not everyone will like you. There are about, 6 billion people on this earth. 99.9% of those people don't care that you exist. And don't even know you exist. And, again, don't care that you exist. You are probably getting judged right now by someone, somewhere. And someone somewhere probably doesn't approve what you're doing and your ways in your life, what you plan on doing with your life, what you're currently doing now, how you think about things. There is someone somewhere that currently and will in the future not approve of the things you're doing. And things will go wrong. Shit is destined to go wrong. So there is no need to worry about things going wrong because it will. Inevitably, eventually, it will. Now, that's not a positive or a negative thing. That's just I fucking guarantee it because that's how life works. And when things go wrong, they eventually go right if you keep listening to my podcast. I promise you. Now that you understood that, it really makes no sense to me why we give a fuck so much as human beings. We're just really wired. We're wired fucking dumb if you think about it. We love ourselves so much. We love ourselves so much more than other people. Yet, we worry about what other people think about us. And we value their opinion more than our own. Marcus Aurelius said that. And he said that hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Yet it's still true today. How is it that we are so self-centered? Think about Instagram and social media and just who we are as people. We're honking at people on the street because they're not going fast enough because they're making you late. They're making you late. No. You're making you late because you didn't get up early enough, because you weren't prepared, because you knew there was traffic, because there's always traffic, and you're fucking angry that someone's going slow because you're busy. We are so self-evolved, yet as much as we love ourselves, we're so worried about what other people think. We're so consumed by other people's opinions. We almost value their opinions more than our own, more than ourselves. You know? I'm not saying that giving a fuck is bad. We're human, you know? We're allowed to have emotion. We're allowed to think. We're not robots, you know? Now, what I'm saying is, the real problem or the real danger comes when we start to value those people's opinions more than our own knowledge and instinct and self-worth, and then we start changing our behavior and changing our way of thinking and changing our goals based on other people's opinions. Other people who don't live our lives, who don't have our goals, who don't have our whys, we start changing and we start conforming and we start seeking approval for the things we don't want, just to avoid what? Feeling like an outcast? Just to avoid not following the crowd? Just to avoid not feeling approved for something you didn't fucking want in the first place? That's where my fucks stop. My fucks stop way back before then. But that's where my fucks stop, because there's no way I'm going to give a fuck about something that I don't care about just because I want someone who does nothing for my life to approve of my goals. It makes no fucking sense whatsoever. There's a handful of people, probably this handful of people, that actually matter in your life. Other than that, anyone else's opinion doesn't fucking matter. And those people, they probably already accept you and approve of you and completely back you because they're already in your life. Now, I know there's some family stuff here and there, you know, I'm not saying just don't give a fuck and be an asshole about it. I'm saying that the people that are in your life and value you, they already have your back. Yet the second we get in a relationship with someone, whether it's a friendship, a relationship, or a family, we kind of bypass their thoughts. We kind of bypass, you know, their approval, and we're more worried about the stranger's approval, about the people on social media, than we are the people we actually care about. We're more worried about the people we don't care about's opinion rather than the people we do care about's opinion. That blows my mind. That is just fucking nuts. We care way too much about people we don't care about. This is absolutely crazy to me. Now, something to understand that can really help you start to get over why we give a fuck so much about these people who have opinions that the opinions don't matter at all, because opinions are just fucking thoughts from people who don't have a say in your life. That's its own help right there. But just because someone can talk to you doesn't mean you should listen to what they are saying. Now, that someone, if they're in your very extremely small circle, yeah, value their time, because they're probably trying to give you value or advice. And if not, kick them the fuck out of the circle, you know? But if they're not in that really small circle and they decide to profess and proclaim or preach their beliefs or their philosophies of what you're doing, fuck that. No, you don't have to listen. Now, you don't have to be an asshole and say, get the fuck out of here, but you can smile and nod your head and walk away like everyone else does when some super old dude comes up and tries to give you advice about an exercise that isn't biomechanically effective, but you respect him enough to shake your head and smile and pray that he'll walk away. Not saying that happened, but it fucking happened yesterday. I wanted to talk about this topic, not just because I like to say the word fuck, but honestly, I did this for 17 years, you know? I hid my hand for 17 years because I gave a fuck. I gave a fuck what people thought about something I couldn't control. I gave a fuck about not fitting in. I gave a fuck about getting approval from other people. I gave a fuck about girls maybe not liking me. I gave so many fucks. I gave almost more fucks than I had. I was in give a fuck debt because I just cared so much about what other people thought that it detracted from who I was as a person, and it took part of my soul. I swear to God, it took part of my soul from me, and it just didn't allow me to be who I was. And it stopped me from becoming who I wanted to be, which is exactly who the fuck I'm becoming today, and the reason why I'm doing this podcast. So I'm speaking from an empathetic point of view. I gave way too many fucks. Now, I'm not saying completely draw back and just say fuck everyone. Again, you don't have to be an asshole about this, but you also don't have to seek approval. You don't have to change your ways and worry and freak out about so many things that just don't matter. You really don't. We're constantly seeking approval in today's society. And you get that approval and you feel good. It's almost like a high. Approval really is like a drug. It's a drug that just doesn't keep you high like most drugs. So you need another fix. And you're constantly seeking that fix. And you develop this addicted mentality to approval. And you're always worried about if your selfie has the right lighting. You're always worried about that. And I still face that today. Again, I say these things, maybe I can give an excuse like I'm doing it for business or whatever. But at the end of the day, we're still seeking approval through the pictures we post and the lighting we take. And maybe we're doing it for ourselves. And that's great, because that's where it should be, doing it for ourselves. But it starts with that why. It starts with, why are you doing the things you're doing right now? Ask yourself that, why do we give a fuck? What is it about your job or the people that are in your life or the people that aren't in your life but you're seeking approval from? What is it about that makes you give a fuck so much? Are you looking for acceptance? Are you looking for approval? Or are you just scared? Are you afraid of not being accepted? Are you afraid of going against the grain? Are you afraid of being judged? Are you afraid of just being a weirdo? Being awkward? Are you afraid of liking something that a lot of people don't like? Is it fear that's stopping you? Or are you afraid of the what ifs? Are you afraid of the problems, the possible problems that you could face in life? And a lot of people fall victim to that, So we're coming up with possible reasons why we give a fuck so much. But how can we be more frugal with the fucks we give? I'm not saying you shouldn't give a fuck at all. I'm saying you should be frugal. You should be cheap. You should be a penny pincher with your fucks that you give. Very few people deserve your fucks. Your precious fucks deserve to be, it's gold. It's a limited resource. And you give it to people and to things that deserve it. You're not Rick Ross at the King of Diamonds strip club who's just blowing money, Yeah, that's not what you're going to do with your fucks. What you're going to do is you're going to carefully plan out and select where they're needed to be put. In terms of acceptance, why do you want to be accepted? What is it about being accepted that matters? Because at the end of the day, the goal in life is to live a quality of life, to be happy with your life, to reach your personal goals, to do the things you want to do. There's no fucking way you can be happy if you are worried about being accepted. But your goal is to be happy with what you want to do, but you also want to be accepted. You can't have your cake and eat it too, unless you have insulin and you're diabetic. But seriously, you can't worry and be happy. Those words are clashing. So at a certain point, you have to not give a fuck about acceptance. Because the people who accept you are already in your circle. You're already there. You already got that. Whether it's 1 or 5 or 20 or 1,000, it doesn't matter because you already got that. Now, fuck the acceptance. Do what you want to do. You don't need approval or validation of your life choices because they're your life choices. And the only people who can make those for you are you. That's it. It's all on you. And all this fear, there was a great quote. How'd it go? We often suffer from our imagination far more than we suffer in our reality. We suffer in our imagination far more than we suffer in our reality. I believe that was Seneca, who was a Stoic philosopher. That's a deep fucking quote. What that means is all that suffering is mental. Now, don't get me wrong, certain parts of diabetes, type 1 diabetes, or some of these other conditions, they are physically and mental torture, and sometimes it can be really fucking hard. And that's why I said often. Often meaning most of the time, we are worried about things we can't control. We are suffering in our mind because of the what ifs. What if I can't afford my bills? What if I can't do this? What if this happens? What if this happens? What if I'm not able to reach my goal? We are so worried about things that can go wrong that we suffer in our imagination because we imagine ourselves suffering. We suffer in our imagination because we imagine ourselves suffering, often before we ever suffer. We're not really suffering at the moment. And maybe you can have that glimpse of fear. Maybe that'll be a driver, but you don't live in it. That glimpse of fear, like, oh, what happens if this happens? Great, take that as an opportunity to make moves, to just in case that happens, what are you going to do? You're going to have to do something. Use it as a positive or a beneficial factor in a preventative measure. Be proactive instead of reactive. That's great. But don't stay in the what ifs. You're giving all your fucks to the what ifs, and that does nothing for you except exhaust you. So if that bad thing that you're worried about and giving all your fucks to actually happens, you're going to have no energy to fight it. Because you gave your fucks out. Reel those fucks back in and put energy toward the things that are going to push you forward instead of hold you back. You're worried about being judged. Don't fucking worry about that. You're being judged right now. I'm judging you for worrying about being judged. How do you feel? Judged? Yeah. No fucking shit. Seriously, I get judged all the time. And that's just from the people that are open about judging me. Because of my platform, I can only imagine how many people make fun of my hand or my face or the pictures I take or the lifts that I do or the podcasts I make. God, who knows how many people are judging me? How many people are going to judge me for this podcast? For how many times I said the word fuck? Or for how many times I touched my hat? Or the fact that I'm wearing a hat? Then I could sit there and worry about the possibilities of judgment. And then I start worrying about being judged. And then what am I doing? I'm fucking wasting time. It's a big fucking waste of time. And it's not going to help you. Giving out your fucks to worrying about being judged literally does nothing. As long as you're doing you, what does that mean? You do you. As long as you are focusing on you, as long as you are moving forward in the direction that you want your life to go, you're invincible. Like judgment, acceptance, approval, denial, rejection, all those things bounce right off. Because you are going towards the life you want. You are making the life you want to make. And that's how not giving a fuck helps. When you don't give a fuck about those things, you start creating the life that you approve of. You start creating the life that you accept. And you start creating a life that is negligible of fear. Because you're happy with what you're doing. And you don't care about anyone who disapproves. Because all the people that approve of you are already in your circle. You're good. I'm not saying to just be that no fucks given type guy or girl who is cold-hearted or savage or whatever you want to call yourself. I'm saying to place your fucks carefully. Your fucks have weight. What you care about and what you focus on and what you give energy and effort to will either push you forward or hold you back. And the only difference between the two is where you decide to give your fucks. Hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. I know I did. If you counted up as many times as I said the word fuck, I will give you a free ebook or something. So feel free to comment below or message me. Make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and to the podcast, whether it's on SoundCloud, iTunes, or Google Play, or anywhere else you're listening. I will be back tomorrow with Trash Talk Tuesday, and until then, I'll talk to you guys later.